My 9-year-old daughter and I are riding our bikes to the grocery store to save fuel, to save the world, to reduce our carbon footprints. The lonely, empty bike rack beckons, endearing in its sad simplicity. I lock up our bikes and we enter the store. I clutch my cloth shopping bag to my chest like a shield as a blast of frigid air from the massive air conditioning system assaults us. Muzak blares. Labels from thousands upon thousands of products trucked in, flown in from around the world scream, "Buy me! Choose me! Take me home!" A voice over the intercom demands, "Right now, at the customer service desk, get valuable coupons, 2-for-1 tuna fish." Tuna? My daughter says, her eyes wide. Now see, I've told my daughter that a can of tuna fish is so contaminated with mercury, one might as well eat a thermometer. And she says, "Mom, why would anybody eat tuna?" And I say, "I don't know. Honey, I just don't know." I take a deep breath and slowly exhale the same invisible CO2 that coal-burning power plants pump out by the ton, the same gas that may alter this planet beyond recognition. I have to calm down. I have to shop. I need apples for my daughter's school lunch. It's organic apples. The conventional ones are covered with pesticides one can't wash off. The organic apples must be locally grown to save on jet and truck fuel, and they cannot be packaged in that innocuous-looking transparent plastic film that, thrown in a landfill, will poison groundwater for all eternity. My daughter selects 5 organic apples from Oxnard, and she puts them in my cloth bag. Not a whole heck of lot's going to fit in that bike basket. So I'm just going to buy the apples and a package of 100% recycled toilet paper with 85% post-consumer content in a recycled paper wrapper, and an extra large box of baking soda, which I will use to brush my teeth and clean my bathrooms. Shopping requires optimism. Blind faith, my choices make a difference. Coffee. I desperately crave a cup of coffee from the deli, but I have forgotten to bring along my metal thermos, and I refuse to use a styrofoam cup that will outlive mankind. If they will let me, I would put my mouth under the spigot of the coffee urn and just drink the stuff straight down. I wouldn't ask where the water came from or if the coffee were organic or fair trade. That's how much I want a cup of coffee, because coffee soothes me. The muddy liquid allays the panic I feel, knowing that the glaciers are melting, the Amazon is burning, the Gulf Stream is slowing, oceans are spawning murders, hurricanes, human beings are breeding unchecked. People, people in the United States, people in California, the people in Los Angeles, the people in this market, including me, are responsible for having brought every living thing on the face of this planet to the brink of annihilation. I look around me, no one seems concerned. Recently, I was at my friend Deb's house in her laundry room, and I said to her, I said in a calm, polite voice, I said, "You know, Deb, I use a non-toxic, biodegradable, non-petroleum-based laundry detergent, and gosh, it works just as well as your extra-strength Tide with Mountain Fresh scent, but it doesn't harm the environment." She said, "I care about the environment. I give generously to World Wildlife Fund, but I am not giving up Tide." I said, "Why not?" And she said, "I've used Tide for 20 years. I depend on it." I said, "You won't give up Tide?" She said, "No way." Okay, as courteously and as respectfully as I could, I said, "Do you know what happened on Easter Island, Deb? Utter devastation, because the people of Easter Island refused to give up Tide." I don't mean Tide specifically, but what I'm trying to say is they refused to change the way they'd always done things. They were obsessed with making statues, right? They devoted their lives, all their resources, to making the biggest stone statues they could. Who knows why? Who knows what insane individual came up with that as a raison d'etre? Who knows why everybody listened to that idiot? Anyway, the inhabitants cut down every last tree on the island to make rope and levers to transport and erect bigger and bigger statues, and in the process reduced a tropical paradise to a barren wasteland. Food and water ran out. The handful of survivors resorted to cannibalism. Deb silently filled a plastic cup with Tide and poured it into her non-energy saver washing machine. And finally she said, "Maybe you should see a therapist." On another day, Sue and I were sitting at the playground on a bench at our children's school, watching our daughters play. And I mentioned casually that I had been reading about global warming and that we had, just a few years to drastically cut emissions or the planet would become uninhabitable. Sue laughed lightly. "Maybe our kids will end up living on the moon," she said. I almost burst out, "Oh, yeah, and with no food, no water, no oxygen, that would work." I stopped myself. I know Sue didn't really mean that about the moon. That is just something people say. They say that when they cannot imagine their world being any different from what they've always known. I can. I can imagine a sky so black with soot and ash from forest fires raging out of control. The day's night. I can imagine a dreadful silence after all birds have become extinct. I can imagine my daughter lying in a tent in a refugee camp, perched on the remains of the 10 freeway, clinging to life, her body ravaged by some horrific virus carried by swarms of insects multiplying furiously on an overheated planet. If I allow myself to dwell on these images, I will not be able to shop. So I'm buying the apples and the toilet paper and the baking soda. When my daughter nudges me, and she points to a woman with a cloth bag in the checkout lane next to ours. That woman is having the same trouble I am, trying to convince the checker she does not want a plastic or a paper bag. I approach her. She looks up and smiles. I'm a pleasant surprise. Idle chit-chat is unnecessary because we both have bags. And so we know. We both receive action alerts from the Natural Resources Defense Council. We belong to Sierra Club. We compost. It goes without saying we've given up meat, milk, fish, hair dye, nail polish. And we're both mothers. My daughter and I follow the woman outside. There are 3 bikes in that rack now. We mount our bikes and ride away into the beautiful autumn day.